Surjit Arora, auto analyst at Prabhudas Lilladher is with us right now. Surjit, pleasure to have you back. Good having you here. Tata Motors, Surjit, what did you make of the numbers? I've got your views here. You're pointing to the fact that maintaining JLR EBITDA margins at 20% kind of looks tough, looks difficult.
I mean, if you per se look at the numbers, they were quite ahead of what we were expecting. So that has led to some 8 to 10% earning upgrade. But going forward, two things will happen. One, the volume growth will slow down. We have seen 27% volume growth in the first quarter. Going by the capacity constraint and Range Rover and Range Rover Sport, your volume growth might come down to 14-15% for full year, that is FY15. Add to that, they did not have any material launch expenses or let's say publicity expenses this quarter, and that's why their other expenditure had come down around 450 basis points for this particular quarter, which in my view, going forward with the new launches they have planned over next 2 to 3 quarters will inch upwards. That will lead to some, slight dip in the margins compared to 20% which we have seen. So my estimate for FY15 is around 18.4% EBITDA margin vis-a-vis 20% for the first quarter.
Did you listen into the conference call yesterday, Surjit?
Yes, I was there.
China is now almost 30% of JLR sales, and we've been hearing all kinds of news flow and authorities coming down on luxury car makers. Was there anything from the management on that? Pricing in China, whether they need to take more price cuts or anything?
No, management indicated that they are still in the discussion stage with the authorities in China, and nothing concrete has come up with the discussion at this point of time. Whereas if you look at BMW or Audi, they have already took down their prices in the spare part department, I mean spares and services, etc. So if you look at from that angle, yes, as of now JLR has not tinkered with the prices, but currently the negotiations according to the management are on with the authorities in China.
What's the product demand now looking like? For some of the top selling variants, is there long waiting period for some of the JLR products?
Yeah, if you look at the demand scenario, it is quite strong for JLR across segments. But the key products which are doing pretty well for them on the Land Rover side is Range Rover and Range Rover Sport. There they are facing some capacity constraint. It's the other way around. Demand continues to be quite strong. There is a waiting period there, but supply is a constraint. So at least for next couple of quarters, in my view, Range Rover and Range Rover Sport, which account for almost 35% of Land Rover volumes, will not see a huge growth in terms of volume year on year, given the capacity constraint.
What about capex at JLR, Surjit?
Yeah, see, last quarter also they had guided in Q4 of FY14 regarding capex and R&D of around 3.5 to 3.7 billion pounds. They maintain that guidance this quarter also. And if you look at the kind of growth they will see in bottom line, it could be around 20-25% in pound terms. So my sense is yes, given the huge capex and R&D, the free cash flow generation this year will be negative for the company. But having said that, the demand scenario continues to be quite positive, and maintaining that 18% kind of threshold on EBITDA looks possible at this point of time. So because Q1 was so strong that everyone had to take their earnings up by 8 to 10%, that is what is getting reflected in the stock price. So if you look at from a SOTP angle, that is sum of the part valuation, I believe standalone could add around 45 rupees per share, whereas JLR earlier we were predicting 405 rupees per share on 3.5 times EV by EBITDA. Now with 10% earning upgrade there, that 405 goes to almost 460, 455, 460, and that's why our SOTP valuation also get revised by similar amount to 520 per share over next 6 months. So from current levels of 470 odd, we still see a decent 10-12% kind of upside from a next 4 to 5 months perspective.
You said that you value JLR at about 3.5 times fiscal FY16 expected EV by EBITDA. Yeah. What is a similar comparison for other listed luxury car makers?
Yeah, the differential between JLR and BMW is JLR does more of a capitalization of their R&D expenditure, which is around 75%, whereas for BMW or Volkswagen, it's around 30 to 35%. So either ways, you give a discounting. They trade at 4.5 times 1 year forward, JLR will trade at a discount because the capitalization amount is higher. Or if you adjust for capitalization as equivalent to what Volkswagen and BMW do, then it actually the valuation falls to around 4.5 times, in line with BMW and Volkswagen. So either way, it is in line with their estimate in terms of valuation for both BMW as well as for JLR. And one more thing is JLR, if you look at volumes and product mix, I mean the products are quite good. I mean they are just getting into a very good product cycle. So that is getting valued, or that is giving surprises on the upside for the investors also. I mean their products are quite good. The demand is strong. The only concern is the capacity.
What do you mean they're sort of getting into a favorable product cycle? And I'm sure, I think that said that said that relative to some of the other BMW, etc., right?
Yeah, see, I mean, last 2 years, whatever product they have launched, whether it's the new Range Rover, the new Range Rover Sport, or F-type sports car for Jaguar, all three have done pretty well there. I mean, the demand is not an issue. Plus, going forward, the only gap in their portfolio is the premium segment sedan, which will be, filled with this small Jaguar, which is Jaguar XE, by end of this fiscal. So, once that comes in, they will have a huge portfolio of products, with every product doing very well for them. And one more thing which no one has anticipated in the overall scheme of things is, now they have reduced their platforms. For, let's say, earlier they used to produce only 2 or 3 cars per platform. Now it has upped to almost 4 to 5 cars per platform. So what they have done is, the platform reduction from, let's say, 7 platforms earlier, now they are working only on 4 platforms, whereas the number of products are increasing. So that over longer period does give an edge to a company in terms of costing and in terms of sourcing. So that comes as a big positive for Tata Motors at this point of time.
Okay, that's an important point. Interesting as well. Surjit, thanks very much for coming on. Good chatting with you.
Thank you so much.
That JLR numbers, and of course Tata Motors, JLR, of course, majority of the value there. We're going to take a quick break here. We'll come back in 2. Sanjeev Bhasin and Sarvinder Srivastava are with us, and we are focusing back on the market at this stage. Some new ideas, trades, etc. with both of them. Back in 2.